each at the peak of their powers, colliding in a dramatic on-set showdown. Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway's intense rivalry is one of the most riveting tales in Tinseltown. So what happens when two of Hollywood's biggest stars are forced to share the same spotlight? You get one of the most infamous feuds in entertainment history. The backstory of Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway. Bette Davis, born in 1908, was a powerhouse in Hollywood. Known for her intense eyes and commanding presence, she earned 10 Academy Award nominations, winning twice for Dangerous, 1935, and Jezebel, 1938. By the 1960s, she had a solidified reputation as one of the greatest actresses of her time. Faye Dunaway, born in 1941, burst onto the scene in the mid-1960s. She gained critical acclaim and stardom quickly, earning an Academy Award nomination for Bonnie and Clyde, 1967. Her striking looks and dramatic flair made her a favorite in Hollywood, winning the Oscar for Network, 1976. Both actresses had strong personalities and were known for their dedication to their craft. Davis, with her no-nonsense approach, often clashed with directors and co-stars. She was vocal about her opinions, never shying away from confrontation. Dunaway, on the other hand, was also intense and meticulous about her performances, often demanding multiple takes to get a scene perfect. The era of Hollywood during its rise was one of transition. The old studio system was fading, and new, independent voices were emerging. This was a time of great change, where traditional values were being challenged, and new forms of storytelling were being explored. Their paths crossed when both signed on for a film project that seemed promising. Early buzz around the movie was high, with many anticipating a dynamic collaboration. The film was set to be a major release, with a substantial budget and a talented supporting cast. From the outset, the clash of these two titanic egos seemed inevitable. Crew members reported early signs of tension during initial table reads. Davis's straightforward, old-school approach often collided with Dunaway's methodical, modern technique. This difference in style was apparent to everyone on set, including the director, who initially tried to mediate between the two. Despite the growing tension, both stars maintained a professional facade for the sake of the project. However, those who observed them closely noted a simmering undercurrent of competition and resentment. The film's producers were aware of the potential for conflict, but hoped that the professionalism of both actresses would prevail. As filming progressed, minor disagreements over lines, blocking, and character interpretation began to surface. These initial sparks of tension were precursors to the more intense clashes that would follow. It was clear to all involved that this project would be anything but smooth sailing. The film project. The disputed title. The film that brought Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway together was The Disputed Title. Directed by Robert Aldrich, known for his work on Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, 1962. The project aimed to capture the same level of intensity and drama. The production had a budget of $3 million, a significant amount for the time, reflecting high expectations. Aldrich was confident in his choice of leads, believing their contrasting styles would create on-screen magic. He was no stranger to handling strong personalities, having directed Davis previously. The screenplay was adapted from a best-selling novel, and the story revolved around complex, emotionally charged themes that required top-tier performances. In early 1976, the production began with high hopes. The initial table read was a significant event, with the entire cast and crew present. Reports from the set indicated a palpable tension from the start. Davis, known for her quick memorization and precise delivery, often completed her scenes in 1 or 2 takes. Dunaway, in contrast, was meticulous, sometimes requiring several takes to achieve her vision of perfection. Crew members noted the differences in their approaches. Davis's impatience with Dunaway's multiple takes became evident early on. She was used to a faster pace, having honed her skills during Hollywood's golden age, where efficiency was prized. Dunaway, however, was part of the new Hollywood movement, where method acting and deep character exploration were more common. The first major incident occurred during a pivotal scene. Davis delivered her lines with her usual intensity, expecting the scene to wrap quickly. Dunaway, unsatisfied with her performance, requested additional takes. The delay frustrated Davis, leading to a heated exchange. Witnesses recalled Davis snapping, "I don't have all day," while Dunaway insisted, "We need to get this right." The director's attempts to mediate only partially succeeded. While both actresses were professionals, the tension was now an open secret on set. This incident set the tone for the rest of the shoot. The atmosphere grew more charged with each passing day, with crew members often caught in the crossfire. Despite the friction, the project continued, driven by the sheer talent and determination of both stars. The stakes were high, and neither Davis nor Dunaway wanted to be seen as the cause of any delays. However, the underlying animosity began to seep into their performances, adding an unintended layer of realism to their on-screen rivalry. The cast and crew adjusted to the tension, finding ways to work around the conflicts. Scenes were scheduled to minimize direct interactions between Davis and Dunaway whenever possible. However, the inevitable confrontations continued to escalate, hinting at more significant issues to come. First, sparks of tension. One of the earliest incidents occurred during a scene requiring a complex sequence of emotions from both actresses. Davis, with her decades of experience, nailed her part on the first take. Dunaway, however, requested several retakes, striving for perfection. Each time, Davis's frustration grew more palpable. Crew members recounted how the tension in the room was almost tangible, with everyone holding their breath, waiting for the inevitable eruption. During another scene, a disagreement over blocking turned into a full-blown argument. Davis preferred a more straightforward approach, focusing on delivering her lines with precision. Dunaway, on the other hand, wanted to explore different angles and movements to add depth to her character. The director attempted to mediate, but the conflict escalated. The crew started noticing how these interactions affected the production schedule. Scenes that should have been completed in hours stretched into days. The film's budget began to feel the strain of these delays. The tension wasn't just between Davis and Dunaway. It began to spread to the rest of the cast and crew, creating an atmosphere of anxiety and uncertainty. Despite these early signs of discord, there were moments of brief respite. In scenes where their characters had to display a facade of cordiality, both actresses managed to put aside their differences, delivering performances that masked the real-life animosity. These moments, however, were fleeting, and often followed by more disputes once the cameras stopped rolling. One particular story from the set highlighted the growing divide. During a lunch break, Davis reportedly refused to sit at the same table as Dunaway, opting to eat alone in her trailer. This act of separation was a clear signal to everyone on set that the working relationship had deteriorated beyond repair. Crew members began to take sides, further deepening the rift. As these early sparks of tension grew into full-blown conflicts, the impact on the film became increasingly apparent. The project, which had started with such promise, was now in jeopardy, with every day bringing new challenges. The director and producers faced mounting pressure to keep the film on track while managing the volatile dynamics between their two leading stars, the on-set battles. As filming progressed, the tension between Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway escalated into outright battles. These on-set clashes became legendary, each one more intense than the last. The atmosphere was charged, and everyone involved could feel the strain. One of the most notorious incidents occurred during a scene that required Davis and Dunaway to share an intimate, emotional exchange. The director, Robert Aldrich, wanted to capture the raw intensity of the moment. Davis delivered her lines with her characteristic fervor, expecting a quick wrap. Dunaway, however, found fault with her own performance and requested another take. This request led to a fiery confrontation. Davis, visibly agitated, exclaimed, "How many times do we have to do this? We're professionals, not amateurs." Dunaway, unfazed, responded, "True professionals strive for perfection." Crew members recounted how the argument halted production for several hours. The director attempted to calm both actresses, but the damage was done. The tension was now affecting the entire set. Cameramen, sound technicians, and other crew members had to wait while the stars hashed out their differences. The delay added significant costs to the production, but Aldrich was determined to see the film through. Another significant clash happened during a night shoot. The scene required precise timing and coordination, elements that Davis excelled at. Dunaway, still exploring her character's depth, asked for multiple takes. Davis's patience wore thin. "It's the middle of the night, Faye. Some of us need to sleep," she snapped. Dunaway, undeterred, insisted, "And some of us need to act." This incident resulted in another lengthy delay. Crew members, exhausted and frustrated, began to express their discontent. The tension on set was palpable, with whispered conversations and nervous glances becoming the norm. The production schedule, already tight, became increasingly strained. The battles weren't limited to verbal spats. Physical scenes presented their own challenges. In one instance, a scene required Dunaway to slap Davis. The director called for realism, but after several takes, Davis's cheek bore the marks of Dunaway's intensity. Davis, known for her resilience, pushed through, but the scene left a lasting impact on the already strained relationship. The director's attempts to mediate often fell short. Aldrich tried to separate their scenes, shooting each actress's part independently when possible. This tactic worked to some extent, but couldn't eliminate the need for direct interaction. Each shared scene became a potential flashpoint, with the cast and crew bracing for the next outburst. Public perception and media coverage. As word of the tensions between Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway began to leak, the media quickly latched onto the story. Hollywood loves a good feud, and the clash of these two titanic personalities was irresistible. Reporters eagerly sought any tidbits from the set, and gossip columns buzzed with rumors. The first public sign of trouble emerged in a cryptic interview given by Davis. When asked about working with Dunaway, she replied, "Some people are difficult. They need to learn their craft before they waste everyone's time." This thinly veiled jab sparked a flurry of speculation. Dunaway, typically more reserved in public, responded indirectly by emphasizing her commitment to her art, saying, "True artistry requires patience and dedication." The press ran with these quotes, painting a picture of a bitter rivalry. Headlines like "Davis versus Dunaway, Hollywood's latest feud," and "On-set wars inside the battle" dominated entertainment news. The public, fascinated by the drama, followed every update with avid interest. Fans of both actresses took to defending their idols, further fueling the debate. Behind the scenes, the film's PR team scrambled to manage the narrative. They tried to downplay the conflict, issuing statements about the intense dedication of both stars and their passion for delivering the best performance possible. However, these efforts did little to quell the growing buzz. The director, Robert Aldrich, found himself in the spotlight as well. In interviews, he walked a fine line, praising the talent of Davis and Dunaway while acknowledging the challenges of working with such strong personalities. "They bring a certain energy to the set," he remarked diplomatically. "It's a testament to their commitment to the film." Despite these attempts at damage control, the media coverage continued unabated. Paparazzi camped outside the studio, hoping to capture any sign of discord. Onlookers were treated to occasional glimpses of the actresses entering and exiting, often with tense expressions. These images only added to the narrative of a fraught production. As the weeks went on, more detailed reports began to surface. Anonymous sources from the set described specific incidents, such as the infamous lunch break snub and the multiple takes argument. Each new revelation was pounced upon by the press, creating a sense of a running saga that captivated audiences. The film's producers, initially excited about the publicity, soon grew concerned. While the buzz generated interest in the movie, there was a fear that the negative press could overshadow the film's merits. Meetings were held to discuss strategies for shifting the narrative, but with limited success. In the midst of this media frenzy, the actresses themselves remained focused on their work. Despite the public perception, they continued to deliver powerful performances, driven by their respective commitments to the craft. The public's fascination with the feud only heightened anticipation for the film's release. People wanted to see the result of this contentious collaboration, curious to witness the on-screen chemistry shaped by off-screen battles, behind-the-scenes stories. While the media painted a vivid picture of the public feud between Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway, the real stories from behind the scenes offered even more insight into the volatile dynamic on set. These accounts, shared by crew members and other actors, revealed just how challenging the production had become. One such story involved the film's costume designer Edith Head, a legendary figure in Hollywood. Head had worked with Davis before and knew how to handle her demands. However, Dunaway's meticulous nature presented new challenges. Head recalled how fittings with Dunaway could stretch for hours, with the actress scrutinizing every detail of her wardrobe. Davis, who valued efficiency, grew increasingly impatient with these delays, often expressing her frustration openly. "We're making a film, not sewing a fashion show," she reportedly quipped. Another notable incident took place during a crucial dinner scene. The director, Robert Aldrich, wanted to capture the tension between the characters authentically. The scene required multiple takes to get the right balance of emotion and drama. Davis executed her part flawlessly, but Dunaway struggled with the scene's complexity, asking for several retakes. Davis's frustration boiled over, and she walked off the set, declaring she wouldn't return until Dunaway was ready. The production was halted for the day, costing valuable time and money. The film's assistant director shared a particularly revealing story about the scheduling conflicts. To minimize direct interaction between Davis and Dunaway, scenes were often scheduled in a way that allowed for as little overlap as possible. Despite these efforts, the two still had to share scenes, leading to inevitable clashes. Makeup artist Alan Snyder, who had a long history with Davis, faced his own set of challenges. Davis preferred a quick and straightforward approach to her makeup, while Dunaway wanted to experiment with different looks to find what best suited her character. Snyder found himself caught in the middle, trying to balance the demands of both stars. He noted how the makeup trailer, usually a place of calm before the day's filming, became a battleground of wills. "Some days it felt like I was more of a referee than a makeup artist," Snyder recounted. These behind-the-scenes stories highlighted the contrasting working styles and personalities of Davis and Dunaway. While Davis valued speed and precision, Dunaway's quest for perfection led to numerous delays. The director and crew were constantly walking a tightrope, trying to keep the production moving while managing the actresses' conflicting needs. Despite the ongoing battles, there were moments when the brilliance of both stars shone through. Scenes that required raw emotion and intensity benefited from their real-life tension, adding an unexpected layer of authenticity to their performances. The final straws. As filming of the disputed title drew to a close, the tension between Bette Davis and Faye Dunaway reached its peak. Several incidents during the final weeks of production marked the breaking point of their professional relationship, with each confrontation more intense than the last. One of the most significant incidents occurred during the filming of a critical climactic scene. The scene required both actresses to engage in a heated argument that would culminate in a dramatic resolution. Given the real-life animosity between them, the director, Robert Aldrich, hoped that their genuine tension would add to the scene's authenticity. However, what unfolded was far more explosive than anyone anticipated. Davis and Dunaway began the scene with a simmering intensity, their performances electrifying. As the scene progressed, the emotions ran high, and the line between acting and reality blurred. Davis, fed up with the multiple takes and delays, broke character and lashed out at Dunaway, accusing her of wasting everyone's time. "This isn't your personal stage, Faye," she shouted. Dunaway, equally frustrated, fired back, "Maybe if you adapted to modern methods, we wouldn't be here all night." The argument escalated quickly, with both actresses hurling accusations and insults. Crew members watched in stunned silence, unsure if they should intervene. Aldrich, attempting to regain control, called for a break, but the damage was done. Another pivotal moment occurred during a night shoot that required precise coordination and timing. Dunaway, striving for perfection, asked for yet another retake. Davis, visibly exhausted and irritated, lost her temper. She stormed off the set, declaring she wouldn't return until Dunaway agreed to move on. Production was halted for several hours, with the crew left in limbo. This delay was costly, both in terms of time and money, and highlighted the irreconcilable differences between the two stars. As the final days of shooting approached, the producers grew increasingly anxious. The budget had ballooned due to the numerous delays, and the studio executives were pressuring Aldrich to wrap up the production. Meetings were held to strategize how to navigate the remaining scenes with minimal conflict. In some cases, scenes were rewritten or rescheduled to avoid direct interaction between Davis and Dunaway. One particularly telling incident involved a promotional photo shoot for the film. Both actresses were required to pose together for the film's marketing materials. The session quickly devolved into a series of tense, awkward moments. Davis refused to stand near Dunaway, and Dunaway insisted on multiple wardrobe changes, further delaying the shoot. The photographer, tasked with capturing a sense of camaraderie, struggled to get usable shots. The tension was palpable, and the resulting photos lacked the chemistry the marketing team had hoped for. As the production wrapped, the final straws had taken their toll. The relationship between Davis and Dunaway was irreparably damaged, with both actresses eager to move on from the contentious project. The crew, exhausted from the constant battles, was relieved to see the end of filming, but remained uncertain about the film's prospects. As the curtain falls on the grand stage of her life, Bette Davis looks back on a career filled with brilliance, struggle, and unparalleled passion. In this vast arena of egos and ambition, few names ignite a fire within her quite like Faye Dunaway. Dunaway's talent is undeniable, her presence formidable, yet their encounters were marked by a discord that echoes through Hollywood history. It wasn't mere rivalry that fueled Davis' disdain, but a clash of temperaments, a friction that turned every interaction into a battlefield.